At number 10, we have Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence isn't funny, yet she tries so hard to be, and it's gotten to the point where every time we see her do something new, we all just stand around wishing we didn't see her do that, and we don't want to ruin her confidence, so we all just stay quiet. Remember when she fell at the 2013 Oscars and everybody became all gooey about it? Well, the star would repeat the stint in 2014 when she fell on the red carpet, and it's had us all wondering if she faked it both times just to get attention. But what made her fall even worse was when she tried to explain what happened. The star went on to say, "I kept thinking cakewalk, cakewalk, cakewalk," and I thought, why am I thinking cakewalk? Why is it stuck in my head? And then as I started to walk up the stairs and the fabric got stuck under my dress, that's when I realized my stylist told me cakewalk, cakewalk, you're supposed to kick out the dress while you walk, and I forgot because I was definitely thinking about cake. I mean, I love cake too, but I definitely wouldn't blame it for the reason I fell on the red carpet. And it was definitely such a try-hard, quirky moment that none of us can forget it. At number 9, we have Emma Stone. Emma Stone is kind of funny, I'll give her that, but only because she has this knack for elevating any material given to her. However, the star tries way too hard to be quirky, and she doesn't even have to be. While Emma hasn't been in any iconic films lately, her knack from taking a role and elevating the material given to her makes her roles iconic. If it wasn't for her warmth and presence in the movie Superbad, she probably wouldn't have nabbed the role in Easy A. With her strong personality, Emma had the potential in her career to dive into some big plump roles. However, her over-the-top quirky energy has her being typecasted in the same characters, which has caused people to not really care about the star anymore over the years. With her smiley do-gooder stick, the star is only thinking about her spirit, eyes, zazz, and snap. Now, Emma does have the potential to win over a small portion of viewers if she would just stop trying to stretch herself as an actress with her over quirky persona and would just focus on showing us her real, true, authentic self. Hey Peaches, are you enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. At number 8, we have Anna Kendrick. Don't get me wrong, Anna Kendrick is iconic. However, from time to time, she has a tendency to become a little too quirky for our liking. Her weird and salty attitude mixed with a little bit of anxious, socially awkwardness gives us an odd feeling that she uses these tactics to keep her private life private. However, Anna's stars are just like us mentality comes off a little too hard to be relatable to anyone as humanly as possible. If you take a look at her Twitter, the star has said some pretty bizarre things with an over-the-top, quirky approach. In April of 2015, she tweeted, "I heard One Direction has a job opening, and from certain angles, I look like a British teenage boy." Or in August that year, she also said, "Serious question, how much are wedding cakes, and how weird would it be if I would just buy one and eat it myself?" At number 7, Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa has from time to time expressed her thoughts of female equality. However, her thought of having to work harder in the music industry to be taken seriously contradicts her whole approach to female equality, because she's always trying to seek male validation to prove that she's better than other females. The star has tried so hard to prove that she's not like other women by defying fashion standards, and she's even tried to explain that she's constantly making changes so she won't get negative attention from boys. So what other celebrities do you think are pick-me girls? And let me know in the comments below. And number 6, Doja Cat. Doja Cat's songs just scream pick me, especially in her song Baby I'm Jealous. In the song, Doja Cat's verse is the perfect example when it comes to a pick me girl, because she sings, "I stole your man, he got freedom to chase what he likes," and then she made a whole 180 by saying, "He ain't even worth your time, he's trash." Now the whole song is sung from a female perspective of being apologetic for being jealous of her boyfriend liking other girls' pictures. Now, Doja Cat was definitely meaning to put other women down just because her man was liking other girls' photos, and when she said chick can't be that chick, she was definitely pointing out that she's not like other girls because she's better than other girls. And it's pretty sad to see, instead of helping other females, she chose to use her energy to get men to focus on her and only her. At number 5, we have Jess Hilarious. If anyone has built a career on the messiness of pick-me-girl energy, it's Jess Hilarious. I don't know what's worse, the fact that the star always thinks poorly of other women, or the fact that she made an entire video to criticize SA victims who don't speak out immediately. Instead of standing beside women, the star chose to stand beside men and has claimed that if these survivors are going to claim they should come with some hard evidence. The star took her energy to explain someone else's experiences and mindset just to get approval from men. The star has also made a video to expose the truth about females cheating, and it's sad to see instead of focusing on her career, she's more focused on the destruction of other women to make herself feel good. And she definitely wants to stand out and will do pretty much anything she can to just do that. At number 4, we have Charli D'Amelio. Charli D'Amelio has been trying to justify her actions as a woman, and she's not a regular girl. The girl has gone to infinity and beyond to show everybody her list of talents. Just before Charli lost her spot as the most followed person on TikTok, she did everything she could to influence her audience to prove she's cool. Charli's socially constructed herself to appear as a girl who craves attention and bends easily to the will of men for the purpose of establishing an affinity to them. I mean, just look at her relationship with Little Hoodie. Charli has tried so hard to fit into the masculine sphere that she even started to exhibit attention-seeking behaviors, which led to her triumph of seeking male validation while in the process of tearing down other women. Charli is constantly looking to be accepted by both men and women, and she's tried everything to stand out and prove she's not like any other girl in the process. At number 3, we have Ryan Reynolds. Now, Ryan is never afraid to show his truth of his quirky side, like the time he ran into Hugh Jackman at a coffee shop and posted a photo, and he would later confirm that by running into him, he actually meant that he followed him into the shop just to squeeze in a photo with the guy. However, Ryan's role in the Nines got him a chance to show us his real quirky appeal, and it definitely came off a little too strong. So the Nines told a trio story, and in the first one, Ryan played a TV action star under house arrest. In the second one, he played a TV executive who was being followed by a reality series crew. And in the final section, he was a video game creator who begins to question how much power he should have to play God over his characters. While Reynolds would say he was both the puppet and the puppeteer in the film, he also would say that it was confusing to who he really was, and the star then tried to be quirky by laughing and saying, "Oh, I'm that way every day." At number 2, we have Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is definitely funny. I'll give him that. However, he definitely used his quirky persona to grab some more laughs. The comedian now just seems to yell out words really fast. However, he tries to draw funny moments from his life experiences, but when they're not funny, just does this funny quirky scream just to grab the audience attention to give him a little chuckle. However, the comedian doesn't even need to try so hard to be quirky because he already is naturally, but when he does overdo it, there's nothing really memorable about it. And at number 1 today, we have The Rock. Have you ever wondered why Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has so many people drawn to him? It's because he has so much charisma. When the man walks into a room with his big smile, everyone just feels free to approach him. However, his personality foremost comes off as fake, as it seems like the star is trying way too hard to be quirky just to get everybody's full attention. While The Rock definitely seems to be a good guy, it just seems like he's clearly leaning into this quirky rock character too much that none of us actually know who he is underneath the character. And it's definitely uncanny. Like, there's no way a person can be so flawless, but his quirky persona seems to hide his flaws from all of us.
And at number 10, Kanye West's mask. We all know that Kanye loves to stand out, and that was no different at Sunday's Super Bowl. Kanye showed up to the game with his 2 kids, Saint and North, and he decided to wear a black mask that covered his entire face. The only ventilation in the mask were multiple tiny black holes made around his eyes. During the game, he was also posting constantly to Instagram, mostly taking aim at Kim Kardashian and her new boyfriend Pete Davidson. Comedian and director Judd Apatow even gave the inside scoop on Kanye's feelings about the outfit, and apparently Kanye regretted the choice. Apatow heard Kanye and a friend talking about the ridiculous mask. Apatow's caption said, quote, "I'm sitting near Kanye. He seems very hot and sweaty in the mask. I overheard him say, man, I wish I didn't go with the mask today, but now that I'm in, I can't really bail on it." Kanye then asked a friend if he could lose the mask at halftime, but the friend said he just has to commit to the decision now. Kanye apparently added, quote, "I wish we would have cut some more vents in this thing." And at number 8, Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson is easily the celebrity with the worst track record relating to the Super Bowl, and it's no question that she's had the most embarrassing experience. In 2004, she had the honor of leading the halftime performance, but she made the mistake of inviting Justin Timberlake to perform with her. This incident was so bad, it coined the term wardrobe malfunction. While her and Timberlake were performing the song Rock Your Body, Justin reached over and ripped her shirt, exposing her bare breasts to everyone watching live. Over 540,000 complaints were filed after the incident, and CBS was even fined for allowing it to appear on TV. Following the mishap, Jackson was banned from attending the Grammys that year. and all the world could talk about was Janet Jackson, even though Timberlake completely caused the malfunction. Watching the performance back, it's clear that moment was staged. We're just not sure where exactly it went wrong. It was rumored that he was just supposed to pull back the top part and expose a red lace bra that she was wearing underneath, but obviously he ripped off too much. Jackson's career has never really recovered following the event.
At number 7, we have James Corden. James Corden's fondness for publicity and attempts to be funny at times have gotten the star into some deep trouble. The star seems so busy trying to be quirky that he's developed an awful habit of failing to read the room, and his poor joke choices often fall flat and cause negative reactions. His worst failed attempt at being quirky with his persona was at a research benefit in Los Angeles back in 2017. James would go on to cause outrage when he made an effort to appear quirky and edgy. The star went on to talk about a disgraced film director and even went on to make some serious and sensitive jokes about the director's crimes. Number 6, we have Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake tries way too hard to be quirky so he can cover up the fact that he has a poor personality. Remember the time when Janet Jackson had that wardrobe malfunction during her Super Bowl halftime show in 2004? Well, while the pair was performing Justin's song Rock Your Body, at the climax of the show, Justin would rip a part of Janet's bustier off. As a result, Janet would leave the stage crying and Justin would come out unscathed by his actions and would stay until the end of the game with big smiles on his face. That same year, Janet Jackson wouldn't be allowed to attend the Grammys. However, Justin would, and he would go on to grab a Grammy, and he would later be pictured with his Grammy shrugging his shoulders with a quirky facial expression. The star has gone on to wow us in movies, however, we still can't shake the fact that he definitely tries too hard to be quirky so he can avoid the consequences as long as he can, and that's just sad. At number 5, we have Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen tries so hard to be cool and relatable as a celebrity that with her over-the-top quirky personality, it's become necessary for her to use it just so she can remain relevant. When the star got called out for cyberbullying a 16-year-old, she would leave social media just to come back and then leave again just to come back again. And she's been doing this for months. Chrissy's greatest fame has rooted in the internet thanks to her witty viral tweets, and while the star has coasted Lip Sync Battle and Bring the Funny, her online quirky persona has definitely had a veil of fraudulence to it, and Chrissy continues to act like she's one of us while poking fun at celebrities, and it hasn't exactly always been funny. Her approach to fame has been pretty plain, and none of us have been buying her quirky persona for years. At number 4, we have Tom Hanks. Sometimes Tom Hanks is cool, and we like him, and sometimes he tries so hard to be quirky, we just get really confused. Like the time he hosted SNL at home, the whole time he cracked all kinds of comforting dad jokes. While the star decided to do a monologue in his surprisingly modest-looking kitchen, Tom Hanks would go on with his over-the-top quirky persona, and he would show us that he was just a typical dad telling typical dad jokes. The star would go on to say that he hadn't worn a suit in months, and then he tried out some new materials which saw him wearing a fake mustache, and he gave us a pretty terrible Australian accent. I mean, it did give some people a sensible chuckle, so it wasn't that bad, but it was definitely a little too quirky, and you have to admit that.
And at number 2, Kanye's Super Bowl commercial. Kanye West was not only ranting about his ex-wife during the Super Bowl, he also starred in one of the commercials for McDonald's, and I'm sure the PR team for McDonald's was not happy with how the day turned out. The commercial started with people driving up to the window to order and having no idea what they wanted, which prompted them to do the classic, as they figured out what they wanted. The commercial shows countless people thinking about what to order, then at the end of the commercial, Kanye rolls up in a huge military-style tank and says, "Hey, can I get a..." until the commercial ends. Ye, who was actually at the Super Bowl with his kids that night, has proclaimed his love for McDonald's in the past. In 2018, he tweeted, quote, "McDonald's is my favorite restaurant." The commercial itself is pretty funny, but the fact that the McDonald's PR team was most likely in disarray was hilarious. And finally, number 1, Mickey Guyton. At this year's Super Bowl, there was an awkward mix-up that was not only embarrassing for the NFL, but also for the performers. Singer Mickey Guyton, who sang the national anthem, was incorrectly labeled as Jhené Aiko while she was up singing. In their defense, Jhené Aiko was singing at the event alongside Guyton, however Aiko sang America the Beautiful at a different time. At the time of the mix-up, both women were standing on the field of SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Immediately, NBC Sports released an apology on Twitter, which read, quote, "We incorrectly showed Mickey Guyton and misidentified her before showing Aiko's performance. We apologize to both artists for the error."
At number 10, we have Kendall Jenner. Kendall Jenner has received a lot of criticism lately as she's been outed by fans for being a pick-me girl. Kendall's not like any other girl attitude isn't sitting well with any of her fans, and they haven't been afraid to call her out on it. While the model tends to only hang out with men, most of her fans are calling her out because she's constantly putting down her sister Kylie for getting fillers, being into makeup, acrylics, and anything else girly. Not to mention, Kendall is always talking a certain way, like she's trying to prove she's more than the rest of us, and her fans believe she's acting this way just to get attention from men. Well, Kendall's definitely has had enough of the shade after being trolled with comments about being a pick-me girl after she clapped back by trolling her fans when she posted a video of her snowboarding saying, "It's giving me pick-me vibes." At number 9, we have Addison Rae. Since Addison Rae has been a star on TikTok, she's been giving her fans pick-me vibes. Her dancing, her makeup videos, tweets, and her attitude when she hangs out with other men proves this star is trying to stand out more compared to other women, and sometimes it really makes her make some pretty poor decisions, especially when it comes to her competing with Charli D'Amelio. The internet has been shading Charli, and Addison has liked the comments to feel good about herself, and she's continued on TikTok to make her dances with really exaggerated facial expressions just to draw in the male perspective to validate her feelings about herself. When fans were comparing Addison's looks to Charli's, she was liking them and putting her friend down in the process. Her too cool attention-seeking behavior has propagated a feminist woman against woman mentality, which made us realize that she was altering her behavior just to be accepted by men, and it was a pretty sad moment. Hey Peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. At number 8, Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie doesn't really have female friends, and her reputation of being the ultimate man-eater and husband stealer may account for her lack of gal pals. It also explains why the star is constantly seeking male validations for everything she does. While the star does tend to not be very social and tends to stay at home, even when she talks about her own children, she's pointed out that her daughter Vivi loves picking flowers from the garden, putting them in her hair, and she also likes to have her nails done and collect stuffed animals. Angelina has also said, "It's funny to me having to buy all things pink and watch princess movies." Angelina's role in Tomb Raider and Mr. and Mrs. Smith proved that she's not really into girly things, and she wants to stand out as a female that isn't really like the rest. Every concept about herself implemented into her public physique can also show that she's using a catch him and keep him routine, and it's a pretty dark view of feminism.
And at number 7, Katy Perry. Thankfully, Katy Perry did not embarrass herself by doing anything wrong, but her halftime show is not remembered for how entertaining or groundbreaking that it was, rather it's remembered because of the embarrassing left shark. Katy Perry headlined the halftime show in 2015 and put on a bright and colorful performance, as expected. When the show ended, all anyone could talk about was Perry's backup dancer, who became memed as the left shark. During the performance, Perry had 2 giant sharks behind her dancing while she sang Teenage Dream, but the left one caught everyone's attention because the shark was off cue the whole time and looked to be falling behind. That year, the shark became one of the year's top Halloween costumes. After this performance, everyone wanted to know the full story behind Left Shark, so the dancer inside the costume, Brian Goss, shared his side. He'd been dancing with Perry for 5 years beforehand, and he said that he felt the performance was up to interpretation, so he decided to play a different sort of character as the goofy shark who did not know what he was doing, and clearly he played that role perfectly. And at number 6, Coldplay. This group's halftime show was so monumental and iconic that people still talk about it to this day. But the embarrassing part is that nobody gives Coldplay any credit for their own show. It's hard not to love Coldplay, but sadly their Super Bowl halftime show was a little cringy, mostly because the band was upstaged by their surprise guests, Beyonce and Bruno Mars. I assume most of you didn't even know that Beyonce's legendary Super Bowl performance in 2016 was not actually her show, it was Coldplay's show, she just guest starred, and completely overshadowed the band during their own show. Considering many people don't remember anything about Coldplay's performance, it's clear they took the back seat. During the show, Chris Martin's performance looked more like a third wheel, not someone who was actually supposed to be there.
And number 3, we have Amber Heard. Amber Heard's pick-me energy drives us all nuts, and mainly because she's always trying to play a victim rather than trying to admit she's actually in the wrong. The star for years has been throwing scandalous parties just to get validation from men. During her parties, Amber Heard was nothing more and nothing less but the center of attention, as she would recruit women to draw in rich celebrity men. Amber has a knack of reeling in young women to make appearances at her events through blackmail just so she could receive attention from other men in Hollywood. Amber wanted to be the picture of every man's basic fantasy following her split from Johnny Depp, and she did everything she could just to prove that she wasn't like any other girls, and she wanted all eyes to be on her. From her lies to her scandalous behavior, Amber has chosen to take a self-destructive path to gain attention, and it hasn't sat well with any of us. And number 2, we have Cardi B. Cardi B is wild, talented, and she tends to speak the truth, which gained her a lot of following. However, everyone has been pretty divided on supporting the star due to her pick-me energy. Her on and off relationship with Offset, her songs, and her outfits prove that the star has been seeking validation from men for years. Cardi has used her appearance to prove that she's not like other girls, and she's even let men dictate how she should act just to get their approval. Cardi has been giving us a cool girl appeal to gain likes, and her carefree energy has us all wishing we had her confidence to work the room. Cardi has behaved like a baddie to get chosen over other girls, and she's gone as far as putting other women down just to prove she's wifey material. Working the hip-hop scene, Cardi has gone on to seek validation from a group of men, including her husband, in order to be accepted in their inner clique. She's definitely claimed her power over millions of people, and when she does something new like battling with Nicki Minaj, fans react by choosing Cardi because she brings a fresh take to things. And at number 1 today, we have Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey glamorized dating, toxic relationships, and how it's supposed to be normal to gain attention from older men. Her song Ultraviolence demonstrated she was on a pick-me vibe. As she says, "This is what makes us girls. We don't stick together because we put love first. Something we pass for it's a curse." Lana has tried so hard to appeal hot and cool so she can empower men to think that she's unlike most girls. Her pick-me vibes have her making fans believe that being unloved by a man is the worst feeling ever, and her persona portrays that she isn't an average person and that she's constantly seeking male approval to feel good about herself. However, to be a female, it's a beautiful process, and you shouldn't have to seek a man's approval just to feel validated.